Hi, so I thought I was recording, and turns out that I wasn't, or maybe it stopped recording. But I've gone through a lot of different cards and some really good information. What I pulled first was the Ten of Cups, and you can always uh, reference the playlist that I have for further visuals. Cups here, and I mentioned this game that it's like computer game in the 90s where you could write your own plays and scripts, and you could watch them play out and act out these terrible animations in that monotone voice. It was one of my favorite things because I used to love to act when I was younger. I was in a bunch of plays in Chicago. I had that. I don't know that game what it was called. It was Playwright or something. This is, something working out in your favor. Either, you're happily ever after, or just some sort of successful conclusion to whatever it is you're working on or hoping, dreaming, wondering about. I just had a very deja vu. Wands is on the bottom, in case you're wondering. The next card that I pulled was the Lovers, so it could be a choice between two things or two people or just twins, because it's Gemini. So it could be talking, also sometimes talking across vast distances. Sometimes they're more separated than here, so it can be a separation. Just kind of depends on what you're going through. Or coming together, being guided together. Sometimes, she's looking up at the angel, almost like she's translating, from the heavens to he's looking at her usually. And he always usually looks in awe or amazed or something like that of her, or maybe what she's saying. But yeah, so I was in the Garden of Eden. Love, cups, emotions, feeling. So, just some sort of your own kind of was the Four of Wands. So it's kind of again building, maybe laying the foundation, the groundwork for where you see your future going. Four spokes, four walls. They're building up a castle. They're building up something, a home. Or it could be, wands oftentimes represent words, number of words in a sentence, or letters. So, or just, four, stability, Four of Wands, fire. Just building, finding your other half kind of thing. That's what I had mentioned before. Also, maybe someone feels that way about you, or you're in a relationship, or just kind of again, he's always looking at her almost amazed or in awe. So maybe someone just sees that sort of, I don't know, future foundation love with you, with the Ten of Cups here too, because what was on the bottom was, oh no, we got two Ace of Cups. This was on the bottom of this next deck, Ace of Cups, just the beginning of the Ten of Cups. So again, 10 reducing down to 1. It's just one big cycle of emotion, feeling, love. Ace of Cups was on the bottom under that as well, so I guess it's pretty important. And yes, maybe some sort of love offer, or just a nice gesture, or some sort of inspiration coming to you, maybe some sort of divine inspiration offered, or something of just an emotional feeling, intuitive nature that sort of sparks something, I think, gets you to lay the foundation for maybe a business plan or work or home, maybe more literally. Usually things are more literal for me. I say my own personal meanings to them, but usually cards and are even, the cards are even more literal than I realize. So It can mean just like taking a sip of water. Cards tend to sort of just narrate whatever's going on in my life. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it doesn't matter what I'm doing, where I'm at. Every time I pick up the deck of cards, the bottom card will be narrating exactly what I'm about to do, or what I was just thinking about, or yeah, it's odd. Descriptive than we often think. And the Thoth deck was the Emperor and the Knight of Cups. So this could be someone in your life, someone embodying that sort of Emperor type in charge energy, in charge of their kingdom, in charge of whatever they're doing. Maybe a boss type person, or just someone who's got it together, or just they have their little empire. I don't know, whatever it is to you. It can also be a father figure, or just someone that you see embodies this sort of creative energy, I guess, somewhat too. Can be associated with Aries, Taurus, Capricorn, but really just anyone also. 4, also maybe home again. The Knight of Cups, Cancer. I think of mainly because of the crab. I always notice the staircase too, and actually it looks like, I was trying to kill a bug earlier, but it looks like this fan that is what I kind of think of as dimensions. Just this kind of overlapping of like time and space, that can go either way. Like layers, staircase, spiral, DNA. That dimensions thing, I usually kind of associate the 5 of Wands. What did I tell you? 5 of Wands with that as well. Because it kind of reminds me of this mall that's here in Illinois. And it has like 3 layers, but or 3 levels, but it has all these like intermediate levels and connecting like ramps and staircases that like take you from 3rd floor to like bottom floor to like a middle floor, and it's just very confusing to get around, and you can get lost. That's kind of what I think of as this like dimensions, they're all on these different dimensions, kind of overlap sometimes, and timelines can go off in different ways, There's only really few entrances or exits, I don't know. But yeah, just kind of crisscrossing timelines, crisscrossing dimensions, at least for, these minor events in life and time. There's always the main, like the archetypal cards here, there's always the main fate type events that we don't have a ton of control over. And I feel like they go off in all these different directions, and somehow we just end up in the same sort of place that has variations to it, depending on what choices we've made up until then, in that in-between time where like we're in control of our choices. But there's certain mile markers I think of in life that we just that are sort of set for us, but just like how we get there is different. We can choose those things. And experiences also can always be on various levels and various, just perspective, overlapping time. But the next cards that came out were the Sun, Princess of Wands, and the 5 of Pentacles. So be going towards something that is inspiring to you, or maybe you're just being yourself. sun sign, and or displaying some sort of creative idea, or moving towards more energy. Either hiding, sometimes just depends on how this comes out. Maybe you're hiding from your life, from yourself, or not. If you're, fully expressing yourself, maybe like a change in what you know or what you think, or where you're going, your direction, especially with the often denotes travel, Princess of Wands, Sagittarius, so it often denotes travel, or especially travel long distances. So some sort of change in direction, maybe a change in location, destination, maybe for weather's sake. I always notice like the little feather, feather in your cap. Maybe something's coming in that's just feather in your cap, kind of bringing on that sort of Ten of Cups, happy, emotional satisfaction. Venus in Taurus, though, as well. So maybe just, again, Venus, love, but also Taurus, groundedness, and the Emperor. So that, like, Ten of Cups and the Lovers, and it's like, and the Four of Wands, it's like really a coming together of earth and groundedness and love and like reality and like your real life. It's never perfect, so it's kind of like that real life dream, I guess, or what you see yourself, what you want. Or maybe five letters, five, you get the point with the minor arcana. And the Ace of Cups was on the bottom again, like I said, so again, it's some sort of new beginning, maybe brand new, fresh start, and offer some sort of romantic, loving nature, or just like a kind gesture, either you or coming in. Maybe it's the end or beginning of a cycle, brand new beginning, since the Ace of Cups came up twice. The other cards I pulled from the I Ching were number 2, which I know is the receptive. It's feminine energy. It's like allowance of things, allowance of the creativity to come to you, allowance of the inspiration, allowance of, waiting for something to come back to you, but it's often associated with, I associate some of these cards with the different tarot cards, and so I think of the High Priestess, which is also usually associated with water. It's like the beginning, again, with the Ace of Cups, like the beginning of an emotion, the beginning of an emotional sort of, flood of emotions, or, again, like the beginning of time in a way, the beginning of floodgates opening, the water, filling up all the lakes, and it's very beginning, associated with the moon and the tides and all that. And what was on the bottom was 18, which again, 18 in tarot is the moon, and it's often it rules Cancer, mentioned before, and also Pisces is often associated with that, and so is the High Priestess. I don't know exactly what this card actually means. It looks like he's constructing his own future, the hexagrams being, the divination, different 64 hexagrams in the I Ching, so it's like he's building his own future. There's 3 more on either side, so together it'd be 2 different hexagrams. It's, how you read the I Ching. But when I first saw this, I thought of someone coming out of a roof, like a chimney, and we're going down a chimney. Fiddler on the roof, or something like that. Or 9 again, 2 and 9 is like, again, the end of some sort of cycle. Maybe brought on a lot of emotional change, or tides shifting. I don't know. I pulled some cards from the butterfly deck of cards for maybe location, destination ideas, or something like that. So the first ones that came out were the zebra swallowtail, three of spades, and also the golden birdwing, four of spades. And just notice like a lot of earthy tones, very, earthy tones. I think of Southwest. Just interesting today. I was looking up what like map of ley lines. Just curious if there's any by here, and actually there is one that goes straight through, like right where I live. But one they also like important cities are Chicago, Utah, Mexico Southwest. Just up on I thought that was interesting. So you talk about energy, and I think of water too. Magnetic power plants, crisscrossing of things, of energy. But the golden birdwing is found in northern India, western China, and Malaysia. The zebra swallowtail is from eastern Canada and eastern United States. And the last one that I pulled was the Northern Jungle Queen, which kind of reminds me of Katy Perry's Roar I had mentioned. But just, again, more earthy tones. And it's from Iran and northern India and western China. So, yeah. Earthy tones. Is kind of turning into a little bit of a love reading, maybe. I was going to pull some runes too. Or at least with the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Cups, something that brings on an emotional feeling, inspiration. I was going to pull a love card. I still have not received that other deck that I had spoken about. And so, still using this erotic tarot deck. Switch it up a bit, but yeah, can't believe I still haven't gotten. I wrote to them, like it's crazy customer service. Okay, so runes, clarity on all of this. Signal 3. Initiation. Some messages coming in. Birds again. Receiving some sort of communication or sending something out, but some sort of communication. Feihu, I think. Kind of always looks like telephone wires, lines. That's how I learned it, but maybe just flight travel, again, with the Sagittarius traveling, maybe changing directions or just hearing some sort of communication about travel plans. Two birds, flying over, seeing the bigger picture. Communication maybe from, from a plane or from outer space or something, like messages coming in back down to Earth. I was also watching something on like how they sent communication out like a long time ago with a Chuck Berry song, which I'm pretty sure we've pulled in one of these readings from that book, 1,000 Recordings to Hear Before You Die. That sure came out. I'm not too familiar with the artist, unfortunately, but like it's really good. I looked up his songs, but or his music, but yeah, I'm positive that came up somewhere in one of these readings. So I thought that was kind of funny. Like they sent out that as part of like a hello to, life out in space. It's representation of music. So it's kind of funny that that song came up. But they also sent like telepathic. Someone from space tried to communicate different signs and symbols back down to earth, telepathically, which I had just watched this documentary on. Maybe I'll put it below, which I just thought was kind of funny, given a lot of the things that I've talked about recently, and I really didn't know much about this area of government, all these experiments that were going on. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting. Some of the things that have come up in imagery and like that they mention in this documentary. So maybe it's like it'd be fun for you, especially with the Gemini, the Lovers card there. Maybe with a friend, like seeing if telepathy like can work for you, like tapping into that kind of thing. I never really gave it much thought, but maybe there's something there. Like again, the last reading we ended on like the power of your mind. So maybe exploring and experimenting with that, seeing if you can enhance or increase the power of your mind through maybe enhancing your own personal characteristics and facets within yourself. Again, through astrology maybe, but just knowing what those are, enhancing them, acting them out a little bit. What I've been doing here is sort of, always seem to be acting out my life, enhancing different facets, characteristics, energies within these readings, and yeah, just sort of, I guess, I have the acting bug a little bit right now. I probably should never have given it up, but I was shy. So, but yeah, maybe, and then that being a way for you to enhance your capabilities, your mental capabilities, faculties, like delving into your own personality traits and that kind of thing. Maybe that's inspiring to you, or you're receiving information, communication that way. 6 is on the bottom. That was 6 the Lovers to initiation. So maybe you're being initiated into something. And okay, so again with this erotic tarot, they're kind of funny, kind of entertaining. So Leo, the Sun, again, I think this is like, sometimes I associate the Emperor with Leo just because it always looks kind of fiery, and Leo, Emperor, King. So, but the Sun came up and Sun came out. So, again, Leo, King of Fire. And the Two of Water, again. So again, it's kind of like that receptive, feminine energy. This is Venus in Cancer. Cancer's come up before, Venus has come up before, so maybe any of those things are, I just think of being on the same wavelength as someone. Even though these cards are a bit, actually, within the I Ching, there was, I said, he looked like he was coming out of a chimney or something, because in the background you really can't see on here, but it's like a very faint watercolor of a city or a castle kind of thing. It looks exactly like that. So, she kind of looks like she's trying to get away, but typically this means 2 people coming together. I think of like meeting halfway, or just sharing, exchanging emotion, how you feel, talking about how you feel, maybe especially with the Gemini, and 2 Ace of Cups, and the Two of Water. It's 2 of Cups. It's like 2 people coming together. Maybe these 2 lovers coming together for drinks. 10 of Cups. Seeing, imagining, maybe talking about their future. But they, and maybe it's Leo. Maybe Cancer again. I'm like curious. I feel like I should pull some more cards. clarity on the importance of this. Knight of Air, Gemini. There's also in one of my little, like, I don't know what I'm calling them, but like just excerpts from some of these videos. There was one where I was talking about the powers of the air and something, I mean, this was like early in the morning, so no one was up, and it was a very quiet neighborhood. Something like slammed into my gate, and I was talking about crossing the barriers of others, power of your mind, Prince's powers of the air, Gemini, travel, communication with Fehu, telephone wires, communication, talking about how you feel. Again, Gemini, maybe your other half, two twins. She's just like riding her horse. Leaves, floating, fall time a little bit. Kind of looks like Pocahontas. This is the boots with the fur card. So it just looks very romantic to me, though, with all the leaves kind of flowing in the air. So and air, things coming through air, maybe through your mind. Taurus is on the bottom, the High Priest. Don't really know what to say about that card, except that tomorrow's Sunday, so High Priest can mean like getting married again with, two lovers. Going to church, seeking some sort of spiritual guidance about something. It can also mean some sort of institution, like any sort of your work, family, some sort of team also, or it doesn't always have to come with a very spiritual sort of intent, although it's just the High Priest and it's the counterpart to the High Priestess, or some sort of school, institution, hospital sometimes even. You get the point. Nine of Water, Jupiter and Pisces. So Pisces is important. Again, Saturn and Taurus, Seven of Earth. She looks like she's looking over some letters. And she's standing over a puddle, or in a puddle. Oh, I didn't know. Just kind of looking in on whatever she's doing. Yeah, so Knight of Earth, another Taurus. She looks familiar. Eight of Air, again, communication. Just having a lot on your mind, just trying to break out of your, the birds. There was a little bug that just kind of, I thought almost was going to fly at me. It says Venus in Aquarius, butterflies. What I was going to try to do is just employ some of those their like examples or tips of how one of these psychics helped solve some, like how he would go about communicating. So just I thought maybe I would try and see if anything came to mind. Just kind of close my eyes, focus, clear my mind, and see if any images pop in my head. That's actually how very first like series I ever did, Birds of a Feather, came to me. It was like middle of January. I had not seen a bird. Like I don't really have like some sort of weird attachment to birds. Like I don't know. It's not a phrase I use or anything like that. There's definitely no birds around, not even like pigeons. It was like a blizzard in New York, like however long ago this was, in January, and like 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So that's what I did. And the phrase "birds of a feather" popped in my head. And I was like, I wonder if I came up with that series of combining, making bird hybrids for a store in LA. So that came to mind. So I thought that's what I would try here, and see if, oh gosh, everything's falling. My setup is not okay. My little setup, it's not working. Okay, so let's see. Anything comes to mind. I'm so bad at concentrating and like not thinking about anything. That's why my active meditation plays are better for me. They're almost like a distraction to get you to focus. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm listening to the birds chirping. The word herald came to mind, or like, trumpet, herald. It's not a word I use, so I don't. Lavender just came to mind. By the way, I was going to say, people ask me to say the time that I'm recording these, since it usually takes me a while to like upload them, but it's actually 2 a.m. Wow. 2 a.m. on Sunday, the 21st, May 21st. The world. Think of stepping out of your frame. I saw a dressing room with the kind of curtains you pull across, and a seagull. So, if you didn't think I was crazy before, you probably do now. But I kind of feel like playing one more from the Toth deck. Maybe just to sum everything up. The Knight of Swords. So a lot of mental energy exchange, a lot of fast communication, maybe. Three of Swords is on the bottom. So think of either something with 3 letters, or someone coming in with some sad news or something. But this is reversed, so it could mean like it's not as bad, or maybe it's happened in the past. But again, 3. It's come up a couple times 3 signals. 3 signals. Creative intelligence. It's usually what 3 of Swords means to me, or it doesn't always have to be bad. It can be something, like I said, heartbreakingly smart or something, with the sword, or truth that really gets to your heart, hits you on a heart level, or using your heart and your head. Or like a grand air trine. There's like a lot of different options for all the different cards. Typical meaning is heartbreak, so whatever that means to you. Now I feel like I need to pull another one just in case. 3 of Swords, to clarify the 3 of Swords. I think it all has to do with mental powers. And the 10 of Cups. Well, people don't. 3's on the bottom. 13. I once asked if I was using all 10% of my brain power, since we use 10% of our brains. And the answer I got was no, 13. 13%. If it's possible. Maybe we're using more of our brain power than we realize, to make connections, to connect all the dots, to reach total inspirational or emotional fulfillment. Cups are also very, it's watery energy, again, with the moon and Pisces, and Cancer, very psychic too. So it could be 13 days, reducing down to 4 again. 4's come up like a few times, or maybe 13%. Number 13, just death, regeneration, getting over something, maybe getting over heartbreak, getting over something that a message never being received, or just some information coming in that speaks to your heart. So I often think of 3 of Swords as something speaking air swords to your heart. So maybe something just that really resonates with you, or it touches you on a deeper level, that brings in some inspiration, some intuitive guidance, some advice, something like that. Maybe just a loving offer, having you get over something, or just, again, like it speaks to your heart, or it can be heartbreak. So, but I think it's because I was thinking of the 13% thing when that card flipped up. So maybe it's just tapping into our mental powers, mental abilities, understanding what they are and how to enhance them, beyond you doing like jigsaw puzzles and things like that. Like what really works for you in terms of bringing in new information and recalling and being able to recall information, and enhance your ability to make connections and look at the details, and see all the details, see the big picture at the same time. Like what gets you closer to that? Maybe it's communicating on a heart level with others, communicating through your heart, with heart. Put your heart into it, I think of too. Strength card again. It's the opposite of sun and moon. 9, again, kind of a cycle. Maybe midpoints again, or cross sections, crossing paths, crisscrossing ideas, crisscrossing connections, crisscrossing energies. Again, arrows, I think of communication, shooting your arrow in the sky, like Sagittarius, or just the connection between the sun and the moon, opposite or connected, reflecting one another, navigating the star here, navigating communication, navigating ideas, navigating inspiration, having strength, having courage, having heart, again, strength, fire, wands. This is being at the end, it's kind of like, what's next? One more thing. Swiftness is on the bottom. So maybe I should read from Swift. The 8 of Rods. It is the definition of like communication, things going across the wires, telephone lines, things coming in quickly, advancing quickly. Sometimes it can just very literally mean, because there's like 8 arrows like sloping downwards, it means something coming and going down. This is more of like the arrows going out from the center, kind of like a spiral universe. The rainbow, the entire spectrum, seeing all different facets of something, of maybe yourself, of communication, of different ways of communicating, all those different aspects, all the alchemical cycle, the astrological cycle, connecting all of it as a whole. That's I kind of think of, in terms of diversity and race and all that, like everything just being, I mean, it might sound very cheesy and corny, but like everything just being a big colorful palette to paint with. Yeah, necessary to be in Technicolor. Otherwise it's just black and white. Sun and moon. So maybe I'll read from Swift. Nail polish. A voyage to Laputa, Walnabarbi, okay, I cannot pronounce this, and Japan. This is part 3. And it is on page 363. The author sets out on his 3rd voyage, is taken by pirates, the malice of a Dutchman, whose arrival at an island, he is received into Laputa. Okay, this is weird. I had not been at home above 10 days. 10 days, maybe 10 of Cups, 10 days. When Captain William Robinson, a Cornish man, commander of the Hopewell, a stout ship of 300 tons, came to my house. I had formerly been surgeon of another ship, where he was master and a 4th part owner in a voyage to the Levant. He had always he's always treated me more like a brother than an inferior officer, and hearing of my arrival made me a visit, as I apprehended only out of friendship, for nothing passed more than what is usual after long absences. But repeating his visits often, expressing his joy to find me in good health, asking whether I were now settled for life, adding that he intended a voyage to the East Indies, or Northern India or something, in 2 months. At last he plainly invited me, though with some apologies, to be surgeon of the ship, that I should have another surgeon under me besides our 2 mates, that my salary should be double to the usual pay, and that and that having experienced my knowledge in sea affairs to be at least equal to his, he would enter into any engagement to follow my advice, as much as if I had share in the command. We had not sailed above 3 days when a great storm arising, we were driven 5 days to the northeast, and then to the east, after which we had fair weather, but still with a pretty strong gale from the west. Upon the 10th day we were chased by 2 pirates, who soon overtook us. For my sloop was no deep loaden, that she sailed very, very slow. Neither were we in a condition to defend ourselves. We were boarded about the same, I don't know how long. This is 11th of April, 1707, 5th day of August, 1706. Fort St. George. Stayed there for 3 weeks. 3 is important. 396. You only need the importance. 396. Let's see what it says. But I must freely confess that the many virtues of those excellent quadrupeds placed in opposite view of human corruption, opposite view, the strength card from before, sun and moon, had so far opened my eyes and enlarged my understanding that I began to view the actions and passions of man in a very different light, and to think the honor of my own kind not worth managing, which besides it was impossible for me to do before a person so acute of judgment as my master, who daily convinced me of 1,000 faults myself, whereof I had not the least perception before, and which with us would never be numbered even among human infirmities. I had likewise learned from his example an utter detestation of all falsehood or disguise, and truth appeared so amiable to me, and I determined upon sacrificing everything to it. So truth. Let me deal so candidly with the reader as to confess that there was yet a much stronger motive for the freedom I took in my representation of things. He said the Yahoos were known to hate one another more than they did any different species of animals, and the reason usually assigned was the odiousness of their own shapes, mentioned shapes earlier, which all could see in the rest, but not in themselves. He therefore begun to think not unwise in us to cover our bodies, and by that invention conceal many of our own deformities from each other, which would else be hardly supportable. But he had now found that he had been mistaken, and that the dissensions of those brutes in his country were owing to the same cause with ours, and I had described them. For if, said he, you throw among the Yahoos as much food as would be sufficient for 50, they will, instead of eating peacefully, fall together by the ears, each single one impatient to have all to itself, and therefore a servant was usually employed to stand by feeding the product. Perhaps a little bit more civilized and qualified with the gift of speech, but making no other use of the reason than to improve and multiply those vices whereof their brethren in this country had only the share that nature allotted them. I freely confess that all little knowledge I have of any value was acquired by the lectures I received from my master, and from hearing the discourses of him and his friends, to which I should be prouder to listen than to dictate to the greatest and wisest assembly in Europe. I admired the strength, comeliness, and speed of the inhabitants, and such the constellation of virtues and such amiable persons produced in me the highest veneration, At first I did not feel the natural awe which the yahoos and all the other animals bear towards them, but it grew upon me in degrees, much sooner than I had imagined, and was mingled with a respectful love and gratitude that they would condescend to distinguish me from the rest of my species. Makes me think of the song Mona Lisa. Says like, you're the last of your kind, or something like that. Yeah, so maybe I'll just end there because we're just getting a little bit long. But yeah, I hope that this was interesting and informative and helpful. And if you have time, check out the links that I provide below and see if any further science clues, information, or storylines come out. The 501 storylines. Storylines come out for you and bring you maybe somewhere new. Yeah, I hope that you have a great week, and maybe I'll do end of May. I'll do a globe turn in another video. All right, thanks for watching, sharing, subscribing, liking the videos, and yeah, take care.